Good evening, Lifeboat. How is everybody this evening? Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday. They all blend together when they're all the same. Imagine that. Check out my new digs, my new glasses. If I don't look this far up, if I just stay like right here, it's perfect. Although I do have to say I can see every tiny speck and smudge on these suckers, and it bugs me. But it's much better than burning my corneas out of my skull. And it's a whole lot better than headaches. And I don't know if you've ever had the sensation of your eyeballs burning, but that's uncomfortable. I don't know if they were actually burning, but that's what it felt like. Captain Calhoun! That's me, dude. It's me, dude. Let's do a little roll call, shall we? Thanks for being here early, everybody. You guys rock. You guys kick butt, major butt. Jason P, how are you doing? Good to see you. Ben Bacon Bits, John Allen. Wow, you guys had quite the conversation before I got here. Sweet Tea, I am the noise opera. Roberta, thanks for calling me on that missing C. I probably wouldn't have caught it if you hadn't said that at 6:37, so I really appreciate that. Somehow I missed the C in Recover It in 4 different locations. I don't know how I could be that consistent in my mistakes because my consistency is not my most well developed trait, I have to say. All right. Ben Bacon Bits, Zenwen, Goddess Divine. Good to see you guys. Mr. Ray Ray, Crazy Girl, Mara. I was reading what Mara was saying about the time change, and this puts her at 10 p.m. And I'm really sorry about that. I am working on getting some other time slots and whatnot. It's just going to be a little bit of a transition. I've been talking to a couple of the ripples out there. We've been discussing time slots and plans and dreams and hopes and ambitions. It's great. It's wonderful. And we'll be having a trial run here soon with the ripples. But as far as the time slots go for the lifeboat, I'm aware that some of you aren't being able to catch lives anymore, and I'm working on a fix. All right, and I appreciate every one of you. Lacey Silver, good evening. Good evening, Sue B. Mr. I'm gonna have to practice pronouncing that so I don't screw it up in the future. Mr. Merkababastic. I'm gonna go with that for now because it flows out of my mouth. Mischief Managed. I feel like for me it's still Mischief Managed's birthday because I only found out like last night or this morning. I forget which one, but I found out like at the end of her birthday, but it was the beginning of my day. So in my heart, it's still your birthday, Mischief Managed. Happy birthday. These glasses are sweet. I look pretty smart, huh? Miss Sunrise Dawn, Stacy Sullivan, Emily Blythe. Good to see you. Sweet Liberty, Kristen Melinda. Kristen, I hear you're mocking up a logo of some sorts. I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. Put you on blast in passing, pardon me. Mocked Murdochable. Good to see you. Cat's Eyes, Patty Collins, Seventh Son. How y'all doing? We could do this forever. Fancy Nancy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Valerie, good to see you. Janet G. Mary Jones. Lumen. Ellie J. You guys rock. Our friend from Israel, good to see you. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. I wonder how close to the bottom of this sucker I am. Tara Smiling, I saw you. Mile High Hokey, Inappropriate Heifer. Here we go. Heck yeah. Well, I think a 5-minute roll call is pretty legit. You guys want to get to some meat and taters or what? Yeah, YouTube is jacked up. It says 10 people are watching, but I just read like 50 names, so whatever. Little disclaimer before we get started. I had some serious stomach discomfort like right before we started, and I don't know if it's a combination of like not hydrating properly or like my diet being not diverse enough, or I don't know what's going on, but I've been having some digestion issues since I moved here. And I think the reason I bring this up is if I have to go to the bathroom, I'm going to have to immediately do that. And if that is the case, I'm probably going to have to shut this down and walk across the street to the hospital so that they can sign me up for that free year of healthcare so that they can start fixing me. Because I tell you what, I'm done with whatever struggle I see coming. You know what I mean? Without getting into details. So I just want to let you guys know I might be able to make it through. It's very unpredictable, but the discomfort that I was experiencing before hitting the live button, basically told me that later on today I'm going to have to run that mission across the street. So when duty calls, I'm going to pick the phone up. But until then, we're gonna run this like that's not the case. I wish you guys could see my pops right now. He's I've got his little screen like in the bottom like studio area, and it's all dark and foreboding. In his little camera, he's walking through a house. There's no lights on. It's a murder mystery. Crazy girl, add to your list. Vitalux Healthy Eyes, blue screen protection. Are those eye drops or are those glasses? I guess I could just Google it and find out. Thank you so much, Crazy girl. I will. I will be going. You can keep the lights off, Dad. I was just making fun of you. I'm sure it probably helps you see better if you have them on, though. Charlie Mullins, good to see you, brother. I hope I'm okay too, Tara. I have to say, this isn't the first time I've had a run-in with the porcelain gods of this nature, and the first time I was homeless in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I have to say that was probably the first time that the first time in my life that my diet degenerated to whatever I could get. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I was eating terrible things. I just didn't have the luxury of choosing. I'm going to eat fruit food group. I'm going to eat carbs. I'm going to eat protein. I'm going to eat a balanced diet. That wasn't an option, right? So I remember the first time that this happened, I thought I was going to die. I was like fetal position. It was the most pain I'd ever experienced. And I just could not pass whatever was inside of me, right? So I went to the ER and they just gave me Dilaudid or morphine or something. They just gave me a bunch of opiates and like said, "Oh, you need to go get some laxatives. Get out of here." It was the craziest thing. They gave me so much morphine or whatever opiate it was. I was blacking out. Like I was like hitting on the nurse. I was blacking out. I was like, they were taking me to a different room. I'm like blacking out, like walking out, happy go lucky, blacking out. It was the wildest experience. So not the most encouraging, thing to move forward with, right? But I mean, if it's just a diet thing, that's something that I can fix, right? Part of the reason I bring up the ER as well is because when you move to this, I don't know if it's this town or the state. My dad knows all about it or whatever, but they give you a free year of healthcare or whatever. So, like, it's not that I am like in danger. I am in extreme pain and discomfort when it flares up. I don't know if that's the right word. When I have to go, right? But I don't think it's going to hurt me. I don't think I don't think it's actually dangerous. I just want them to fill out that paperwork for me. If I go fill out the healthcare paperwork, it's going to take 6 months to process, and then I'll only have 6 months to get things done. If I go across the street, they'll do it immediately, right? So I will kill two birds with one stone. That's why I bring that up. I just don't want you guys to worry. That's all. That's all. Don't worry. I promise I'm solid. Um, Good evening, Plant Freak. Glad you joined us. And Hummingbird. So the will to recover. We talked about tools for your toolkit yesterday. And today we're going to talk about the will to recover. Here, hold on one second. Seems like you're into me, Big Daddy. But whatever, do your thing. It's all good. Either way. All right, back to some killer stuff. The will to recover. So you've got these tools. You got this toolkit to bust out when you need them, right? Well, like, do you ever roll out of bed and not feel like doing anything? Or wake up still in bed, not feel like getting out, Do you ever have, I don't know, Do you just ever not feel like it? Just don't quite feel up to it for whatever reason. What if you feel that way about using your tools? So today we're going to talk about the will to recover, which is different than desire. You know, I think if you're like me, at some point in your journey of addiction, the addiction part of it, you'll probably desire to stop or to get clean or to get better or to change the way you're living. At some point, odds are you're going to have this desire, right? Well, without the will, that desire may as well just be a codfish. Um, will. When you wake up and you don't feel like doing it and you do it anyway, you know, whatever reason you do it anyway, that's the will right there. That's a very important distinction. I spent a lot of time today trying to figure out how I was going to just make the distinction between will and desire. And I think there's a little element of action with the will. I will say when I was in my addiction, the will to get high or to get drunk was the strongest force I had ever experienced. And if I'm that willing to destroy myself, why can't why not be that willing to recover? Right? It's just a switch flip in the brain. And I say that it sounds simple, right? It's not. It's very complicated. It's very difficult. This is not an easy task, right? Much easier said than done. But by talking about it and fleshing this out, it'll be a little easier to accomplish. Raise a girl needs motivation. That's what we're talking about right here. And everyone's different. I had to find ways to motivate myself. I had to find reasons that mattered to me. And when I first started this journey of recovery, nothing mattered to me. There was no way. The the sheer will to survive drove me to chase this recovery. But if you don't chase your recovery with the veracity that you chased your addiction, you're not going to get any traction. And I think that a lot of you were already on the same page with me, but this is very important, right? The will to recover is as essential as the tools to recover. I think we talk about will a lot in the 12-step program when I was in it. Valerie says, "I'm a person who always thinks my will can win out, and if something, a relationship situation, fails, I must not have put enough will into it. Healthy in some aspects of life, unhealthy in others." I agree. There are many times where I wish that I just had the will, the motivation to do any number of things. I've often felt that I was lacking in will and motivation. But there are other situations where you can't stop me. Like I am getting it done. And it's a curious difference. Like what kinds of situations and things that I am naturally opposed to doing, or at least in this moment naturally opposed, versus the opposite, right? Having a very easy time chasing it down. It's very, very interesting. We start thinking about these things and identifying what's lacking, and that's how we begin to recover. And I'm going to take this moment to talk about contrary action. What is contrary action, you might ask? Well, that's actions to the contrary. No, that's doing what you don't normally do. I'm sure that some of you have heard the phrase, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And I have to say, that rings very, very true for addicts and recovery. In order to successfully walk this path, there's going to be a number of times where you're going to have to do what you don't normally do. And I think this is very important in the beginning when you're rewiring your brain, when you're rebuilding the reward center of your brain, when you're restructuring, your extracurricular life, when you're restructuring your life in general. Contrary action is going to start this process. If you're like me, you're a creature of habit. You find yourself in a certain place or situation, and your brain's like, "Oh, I'm going to do this," And often when I in early recovery for me, that would involve, alcohol or partying, drugs, right? In that very moment, when I noticed that my brain, yesterday we were talking about being present. In that very moment, when I notice that my brain is going in a direction that, is on those three stages, I can enact contrary action. I can deliberately take an action that is not what I would normally do. And what this is going to do is this is going to send you in a different direction. If you take the action you normally take, you're going to go in the same direction you've always gone, which I imagine isn't recovery, right? So contrary action is very, very important for the early recovering addicts and alcoholics. I see you guys doing your support thing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The boat is in good hands. And I'm not talking about mine. I'm talking about all of your many loving hands. Look at this. This is fantastic. This is immense. How important is recovery? How important is recovery to you? I often tie motivation to importance or value in my brain, at least when I'm trying to break stuff down. And I don't know, I don't, you know, this needs to be the most important thing. I said earlier, you need to go at your recovery with the veracity that you went after your addiction. Um, and if you're like me, nothing could stop you, right? So what's the difference? How do we employ that sort of energy and will in our recovery? Well, baby steps and practice, diligence and patience. I tell you what, this is not a race. This is a marathon. Um, this is a marathon. And Casillas, thank you very much. 10 Lifeboat memberships. Wow. It's hard. We are literally rewiring our brains. It's not as easy as like pressing a button or, typing up some notes, writing down a letter, whatever, making a list. It's not that simple, right? We're literally rewiring our brains. So, cut yourself some slack. They say it's not rocket science, but I mean, this is some complicated stuff for sure. The way that the human brain and the human body work, I mean, it's damn near rocket science. So have some patience with yourself, you know? Exactly. Christian Melinda. Christian Melinda says, I guess because not going after the addiction feels like doing nothing. So I have to figure out something positive to go after instead. Exactly. Especially when you take away the drink and the drug, you're left with nothing, right? So yeah, it's up to you to find it, to build it, to make it, to create it, to chase it, right? It's something like a clean slate for sure. Obviously, there's still baggage, there's still guilt. So, we bring stuff into recovery from our addictions. But I forgot what I was saying. That's great. That was great. These glasses are sweet. My visage is much more intelligent looking, I feel like. Exactly. If you feel like you got some more research, is what they call it, to do, we'll be here. It's funny. I thought about bringing out my books and promoting them. If you don't have or have not read the big book from Alcoholics Anonymous or any of the affiliated literatures like CA, NA, I would highly recommend getting a hold of one of those books and reading it. Regardless of, I feel like everybody has a qualm or two with the 12 steps, but I have to say, up until this point, they were the only. I don't know. I am a fan. I'll just say that I'm a fan of the 12-step program, and it worked for me. And I have to say that those books have some serious gems in there. If you want some recovery literature, I highly recommend and support any 12-step big book, NACAAA. I've got a box full of them. Yeah, if you want something to read in that vein, you're definitely not going to miss with that. Ellie, how do you flip the switch? Especially when it feels like all my energy is going into basic survival. I got so disabled that my brain and spirit want to do things. But CFS makes it so hard. What is CFS? I agree with this statement, Mischief. Boring stuff puts me to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. You're right. I agree. I don't know what smart recovery materials are, Lumen, so I'd have to say no until I discover what they are. Chronic fatigue syndrome. Wow. Well, that does sound like it would make it difficult. Your original comment. Well, I think in your unique case, it's going to work the same, but I would probably try to minimize the energy expenditure, right? Or try to keep activities and whatever you're working on in your recovery, I would try to keep it close to home, close. Like I would probably just go about it in a way that would minimize an energy expenditure. You know what I mean? I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist. Um, so, in relation to your CFS, I would definitely, talk to a doctor about how you can mitigate and work with CFS, right? But as far as flipping the switch, the motivation, right? The will, you have to find that within yourself. You have to make that real. I understand that it's probably different for you and it's probably difficult for you. But the mechanism of being willing to recover and do whatever it takes is the same. Unfortunately, there's no cheat code. What we are talking about is one of the most difficult things that one will ever do in their life. This is not an easy path. And um, at some point I accepted that I don't necessarily get to choose all the cards in my hand. Some of them are bestowed upon me, and it's just left for me to accept and do the best that I can with them. I try not to make excuses, even though I really want to. Yeah, this needs to be important, right? Be about it. What we would do for drugs and alcohol, we need to go above and beyond for our recovery. We need to go to extreme lengths. I think that's a great comparison. That is really all of the material that I had. That's crazy. I burned through it in like 20 minutes. Um, but I did skip all my housekeeping stuff. So, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and hit the all if you want to stay subscribed. Housekeeping conversations with Christy tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. I'm going to be on Christy's channel doing an interview. I'm going to be getting interviewed. Just the humble Spanx Calhoun, no captain, just Spanx, So that'll be fun. 11 a.m. Pacific with conversation with Christy. I've been talking to Ripples, and we are trying to set up some trial runs, which I imagine will be live, but I haven't. I don't want to say too much because I haven't spoken to everybody enough, I feel like, but we are going to start doing some trial runs with the Ripples. And I believe the way it'll work is like a simulcast, I guess. You can cast it to your own channel. I imagine you would want to, right? Um, But yeah, shout out to my ripples. I'm so stoked that we're embarking on this journey together, and I can't wait to see what happens. Um, Maybe we just open it up. We've been pretty heavy, like 3 or 4 days in a row with the evening boats. So I guess not including. Well, I guess the weekend was serious esque too. Um, so yeah, let's talk about it. Rampage TLB says I used marijuana to help with all my conditions, but due to second collapsed lung, I had to quit smoking of all kinds. When you say second collapsed lungs, are you saying that you've got two lungs that aren't functioning? A little confused. I didn't know they still made the three lung model. Hey, hey, hey! I thought I recognized you. Good to see you, Steerus. I can't wait to see what we build. What we build. Oh, all the time, Tara. All the time. Have you ever felt like you wanted to give up? How did you restore your will to stay in recovery? Well, it was real simple. This is a real easy answer. I tell you what, um, it I made it black and white for myself. I put it in very simple terms. Michael, you're gonna die, or Michael, you're gonna live. What do you choose? And it was difficult to put it into those terms until it was real. Until until the writing on the wall was written in my blood. You know what I mean? Sorry to get graphic, but I made it very simple on myself, and I don't think I would have been able to if I wasn't in that actual position. If I hadn't if I hadn't made that phone call February 21st, 24th, pardon me, 21st is my birthday. That's when the bender began. On the 24th, when the bender ended, when I woke up and called my dad, if I hadn't done that, I probably would be dead or in prison right now. My money's on dead, but you never know. So I know that's not going to work for everybody, but that's what happened to me. That's my experience, and that's all I can share, really. So I've been sober since February 24th of 2023. So a year and 2 months, just about, give or take a couple days, right? 8 days. I like the glasses too, huh? Let's see if we can keep them clean for more than a day. Get busy living or get busy dying. Yeah, I like where Shawshank went with that for sure. Spontaneous lung collapse in your 20s. I must not understand what it means to collapse a lung. I didn't know that you could recover from that. Pardon me. Pardon me for my ignorance. Well, I tell you what, that you're doing what I'm glad that you're doing what you can to stay healthy, move forward, whether or not it's quitting smoking. Yeah, I tell you what, definitely had to be in bad shape. So I try not to begrudge my stumbles and falls because they made me succeed in the end, right? Legally change my name to Spanx Fund. I don't know how that would like go over with the in-laws one day. You know what I mean? Thank you, mischief managed. You were born with a collapsed lung. Good lord! I'm glad you're here with us. And you grew wings. Look at you. You know, Rampage, they really like to do that, don't they? Rampage says they put me on Oxy. Mind blown. Yeah, me too. Although it surprises me less and less the more I hear that this is what happens. I mean, and like I said earlier with my ER experience for not being able to poop, they just gave me a bunch of morphine and told me to go get milk with magnesia. It was wild. Just give it to everybody, hand it out like candy. Yeah, it had to be real for me. Say what says I agree. It didn't get serious until I actually believed it would kill me. And I don't know why that is. I mean, maybe it's because I'm stubborn, um, which I definitely am, right? Uh, I feel like and I'm definitely like a button pusher, like a line pusher, a boundary pusher, right? Just naturally. I mean, I don't intentionally mess with people, but I'm just saying, like, as far as like personality traits, I know this about myself. So pushing it to the absolute last moment was only like to be expected if I'm really honest with myself. For me, at least, it's just true to myself, right? And I wish it wasn't that way. Thank you, Seventh. Seventh says he sent me some glasses. I need them, dude. I tell you what, as soon as I put these on, it was a world of difference. Holy crap. It was I'm never taking them off ever again. I mean, I am, but when I'm sitting here, I am now nerd Mike for sure. We can be Captain Glasses Malone. That's right, Deeming. Deeming says you have miles to go before you sleep. You have taken up a mission that will help carry you through. Godspeed. Just for the love. Thank you, Jason. Much love right back at you. Yeah, nicotine is quite the insidious chemical. My mother told me that quitting nicotine was harder than beating heroin. Wrap your brain around that. Wrap your brain around that. I'm pretty sure my dad agrees. Tara says, if you could say anything to yourself before you got high for the first time, what would it be? And that's a really good question. When I got high the first time, I had the opinion that drugs were bad, right? So it's not like saying like, "Hey, young man, don't do that," would have helped because I already knew. You know what I mean? I wonder. I don't know if I could have told myself anything that would have changed the outcome. Maybe if I would have been like, "You almost die from smoking crack 15 years from now," maybe that would have been a good thing to say. I don't know. I feel like that's a good question to turn right back around on you. You should change your name to Spank Sport and Fizzle. I was born with a doctor's handprint on my bun. Photos are it isn't real. Just kidding. Bad joke. Yeah, every single time. I feel like that's a common trait among us addicts, right? At least if you're like me. I have seen some names. I remember roll call. I can't remember what grade I was in, but I was going to this like hood school, and there was this girl in my class. Her name was Oranjawisa. The uh, the teacher said orange juice, and the girl stood up and said Oranjawisa, and then like cursed at her. It was crazy. It's crazy. Way too young for that kind of exposure. Don't I? I never knew until right now. I look like a real adult, you know? Here, please hold. It gets warm in here. I don't think that my apartment has very good insulation because if I turn the AC on, it will just stay on. It never reaches a temperature and then cuts off. It just constantly pumps cold air. So I have to turn it off because it gets chilly, but now it's warm again. So I guess I'm just going to run that power bill up. Ooh, Krista Melinda says, I'm getting ready to go back into practice as a therapist, also in recovery from things myself. What are y'all's biggest gripes about therapists? I want to make sure not to do those. I think that's a great question because, everybody has a gripe about therapists, right? Do I? Yeah, I do need the masking tape on the nose piece, don't I? Get some like painter's tape or something. Casey says, the only thing that has saved me from an unaliving myself is realizing that I have a purpose here in this lifetime. I have lessons to learn and people to help. I am worthy of love and joy. And I think we all are going to have to find a reason to live, or we probably won't make it out of this mire. At least if you're like me, I'm only speaking, for addicts, right? For people that are like me. But if we can't find a really darn good reason to keep doing what we're doing, we're not gonna. You know what I mean? And when I say keep doing what we're doing, I don't mean using. I mean living, recovering, right? I think that use is a symptom. I think that use is a symptom. Well, have a great evening, Patty Collins. All right. Hope I didn't miss you. Ben Bacon Bits, much love. And don't forget, Tara Smiling has a chat on her Discord server tomorrow before the boat and a Monday show. Tara is smart. She knows stuff. Don't forget, Tara has a chat on her Discord server tomorrow before the boat and a Monday show. Well, I didn't know Tara had a Discord server. I'd love to go check it out. Hit me with the invite. You definitely got to work like hell to recover. Thank you, Ben Bacon Bits. Pardon me. I got lost in reading that. Thank you so much. Yeah, maybe that was really the go-to answer there. Love yourself. Love is the answer. Love is the answer. Some high frequency stuff right there. Valerie says her biggest gripe about therapists is feeling like they're just reading from a script and don't really care, even professionally. Yeah, if I had to answer that question, I'd say, connection is the most important part of that transaction for me, like that human interaction. Yeah, I think connection, it's not going to be for like everyone's not going to, like, it's not always going to be a match. If you're going to let Uncle Johnny know. I told my dad, I was like, yo, I might have to go to the thing across the street. So will you hang out? And feel like better now. I feel like it's going to be a few hours before that happens. So if you're listening, Uncle Johnny, you're good to go. You don't have to. You can just do whatever you want, man. Man, is anyone a fan of chamomile tea? Because I'm a fan of chamomile tea, but lately I've been having it before my shows because it's good for my throat, right? But it smells and tastes like mushrooms, and I hate it. Hate it. Why is it doing that? Is it because it's old? Is it just some memory association gone wrong in my head? Do I not remember what mushrooms actually taste like? I don't know. It's bugging me. If anyone else has experienced this, please let me know. Deeming says, when I'm stuck in a rut, I like a walk and look for the weird, out of place stuff. I live in the heart of a city, so it's not hard to find. It helps. Yeah, I walks were a huge part of my recovery, especially in the beginning. I did add honey, Queen of Awkwardness. I did add honey, which helped a lot. Maybe I just am confused about what chamomile actually tastes like. Maybe it tastes like crap. you know? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just need to get different tea. Go for some matcha. That would be so good. Some real matcha. And so again, maybe I'm wrong. It's not like I've eaten mushrooms anytime recently, but like this, it's fucking gross. Pardon my language. It's so gross. Maybe I do need a different brand, says Debbie P. Well, I mean, yeah, mushroom tea does taste like mushrooms. Maybe I will try a different brand. Um, Peppermint tea, huh? Red Bush, I have not. Wow. We got some tea aficionados in the chat. I'm gonna have to take some notes. I am going to have to take some notes. Have a little tea party. A little tea party. Lol. Lol. Morton Fissel says I'm on day 2 of eating cardamom seeds. Are you chewing them or just swallowing them? I'm curious, asking for a friend. I am also definitely a coffee guy. The tea is better for my throat, and it helps me sound less like a frog. And it doesn't hurt. It helps my throat not hurt. Oh my gosh. The first time I had real matcha, it was like a rebirth. I swear. I don't know what it is. It's not like the most tastiest thing. It just tastes kind of like plant matter. But oh, I don't know what it is, dude. It was so good. I love matcha. Got to put like a little bit of cream in there. Killer. Killer. It probably is old and stale, judging by the way that I've kept it. And maybe the reason I think it tastes like mushrooms is because my memories of eating mushrooms have been old, stale mushrooms I bought from the guy on the corner street. So, Lord knows those weren't fresh. That makes a whole lot of sense, Geoplanet Jane. Thank you for clarifying that for me. I think I'm convinced that they're old and stale. Roibus. Look into that. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, Danny Mitchell says mushrooms. Nah, no, I'm with you. I am right there with you. My mushroom consumption is in my past, unless they're sautéed. You know what I mean? So we can just stay with the saute pan. I hope it's not growing mushrooms. Don't scare me like that. Say what? I was thinking about this morning's stream and how my eyes were burning and I left. I have to say I was reading the chat and someone said I burnt my eyeballs while ice fishing and I started to churn that over in my mind and then my eyes started to like hurt and like burn and I thought about it and I don't know if I made it out to be more than it actually was. I'm not mad because I went and got these glasses, but don't scare me like that. I don't think it's growing mushrooms. I don't think it's growing mushrooms. Forest bathing, says Ben Bacon Bits. I do like getting in the nude in nature, I have to say. Ginger turmeric. That sounds delicious. I'm also a big fan of chai. Dirty chai is what I buy when I go to a coffee store. Like a place that won't make the coffee for you, always get a dirty chai. Yeah, I like the food kind too, Wharton. I'm right there with you. There was a time, and it's in the past. Far in the past. It is very dry in Tucson. Someone said they sent me, or wait, no, it was Brazy Girl. It's right here. Hold on. Vitalux Healthy Eyes Blue Screen Protection. I don't know if those are drops or glasses, but we're looking it up right now because Brazy Girl has got my best interest at heart. Eye vitamins. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you guys for your patience. Got it. All right. They sell it at Walmart. I can just go get that. Fantastic. I have vitamins for my hair. It's time to get vitamins for my eyes. Thank you, Brazy. I got you. I mean, you got me. We got it. We got this. What makes dirty chai dirty? It's because they take a chai tea and put espresso in it. I guess it was named from the tea perspective, right? Is the peanut butter in the chocolate, or is the chocolate in the peanut butter? I guess the coffee's in the chai, so to speak. I need to get a Costco card, Brazy. That's on my list, right up near the top. Sarah Muntz talks about anger and rage, the likes of which they've never known before. I have to say, I am very familiar with the consuming rage, seeing red, as I like to call it. There are definitely different levels of this, but when you get to the upper echelons of anger and rage, it is quite a terrifying experience. And I have to say, if you don't do something with those emotions, if you can't find an outlet, some way to process or pass them or let them go, they will start eating you from the inside out. Rage and anger are a huge, huge part of my story. Um, and there are a number of events in my life that were huge turning points that were driven by and fueled by rage. And I think my life would be very different in so many ways. I couldn't even begin to actually understand where I'd be without it. But anger, Mr. Bastic says seeing red was a huge catalyst for change. I will say that, rage and anger do have the ability to be quite motivating. When I accept that violence isn't how I express this, when I accept that revenge or pranks or spite isn't my proper way of processing rage and anger, then I start to see what I can do with it, what it can fuel that is good. I think every emotion has a purpose, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be. So, anger isn't necessarily all bad, right? It definitely has the potential to be quite destructive. But if you harness that power and use it for good, you're a superhero. No, I keep my tea not sealed in a bag in a box. It's like picture like when you open a cereal bag and then you like kind of roll it back up and put it into the box. Picture that, except the plastic's all split and there's no way to actually seal it. And then the cardboard box doesn't have a good lid, so the box is open and the bag's open. And I brought them from Salt Lake, so they're very old. So yeah, they're probably stale. I didn't even think about that. That's definitely what's wrong with it. I'm done with this. Be going, you know. There's some water in there. Um, all right, guys, getting to the end here. Um, Catch me on Conversations with Christy tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Shout out to Conversations with Christy. Thank you for having me. Um, we will be getting some ripples collaborating in the next few days, hopefully. Um, just corresponding back and forth over the email, trying to set up schedules and time slots and whatever, and figure out who's down, who's in. So I don't want to say who yet. I feel like it's not my place to say who's in and who's not in or whatever. So I will start promoting the ripples and the collabs when I get permission from them, because consent is sexy. Consent is great. Consent is necessary for lots of things, and I intend to get proper consent before I talk about people's business. Yeah, hit that like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and select all if you'd like to remain subscribed. Lisa from Jersey, I see you. Thanks for showing up. Hell yeah. Yeah, y'all are tops. Wharton Fissel hit the nail right on the head. Thank you, Mara. I appreciate you. Good night, everybody. Good night, everyone. Did I forget anything? I don't think so. No. Nope. Find the will to recover.